Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. This is going to be a video for an oil change on a 2021 Volkswagen Tiguan SE R-Line Black. It's my wife's SUV, and I do want to say before the video starts that all these clips were recorded a while back before I really planned on starting this channel, so the quality is a little rough, so bear with me. It still should be pretty solid, but nothing too crazy. So we'll get into it. First thing we're gonna do, we've had the car running. I've had it sitting for a minute to cool down just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and take the engine cover off. So basically all you're doing, if you've never done this before, you grab and just lift straight up. There's 4 spots that are held in. You can also see they're just pushed in to these rubber grommets right here. Set that in. So, a couple things that you're gonna need. First off, you need a 32 millimeter socket. That is gonna be for the oil filter housing. And we are also not going to be taking out the drain plug. So if you're looking for a video of how to do that, there's plenty of other videos out there for that. But I am actually going to be using a Schwaben oil extractor. So I'm going to pull the oil out the top. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take the cap off, and we're going to set that off to the side. I'm going to just crack the oil filter loose, not take it completely off, but I'm going to crack it so that some air can get in it. So I've got my 32 mil socket. All right, so first things first, I'm going to take this and insert it into my oil extractor. So just so you guys can see, I just put the quick connect into the top of my oil extractor, and now we've got just our normal standard tube coming out here. Let me grab my extension. So we're gonna see if this one works. This is a smaller diameter. You can see here, smaller diameter tube. It's got a red end. You basically feed this tube inside of this red end. Okay, so I've got this connected now. All right, we're gonna pull the dipstick out. Gonna wipe off the dipstick and set it to the side. Now, the moment of truth to see if this is the same size dipstick tube. Okay, so we're just gonna feed this exactly where you pull the dipstick out. You're gonna feed this tube straight down that, and you're gonna you'll feel when it kind of hits the bottom. So now that we've got that in, I've got my pump set to the in setting. I'm going to close the valve, the inline valve, this valve right here. I'm going to close that. I'm going to pump a couple times, feel a little bit of pressure, and then I'm going to open the valve. And as you can see, we are now pulling the oil into the extractor. So I gave it a couple pumps. We got the extractor going. It's pulling all the oil out right now. So we'll just let this sit and we will come back when that is done. So here's a little progress report. So basically, as you can see here, the oil is being suctioned out from the dipstick hole right there. It's coming through the tube into the extractor. You can see I've got the extractor set to the in position, and it's got a little bit of pressure built up, so it's just keeping the suction going. You can see here it's slowly filling up. Basically every one of those notches should be about 1 liter. I think there's 5.7 liters or so in this car, so we'll see where this goes. In the meantime, here's a little glance around the car. I've got the Audi sitting outside. It's a super windy day today. Back in and we'll see where we're at. All right, so this is gonna continue to fill and we'll come back when this is done. Okay, so now that this is done, I'm going to go ahead and change the filter. So as you can see here, we've got the oil filter housing right here. I've already got it cracked loose. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen it some more. Get the air flowing through. I'm gonna give the extractor a couple more pumps once I get this completely cracked. Trying not to get oil everywhere, so I've got this paper towel here ready for this housing when it comes out. So I'm gonna tuck this down in here. I'm gonna tap this around a little bit. Kind of tap off a little bit of the excess oil and onto this pad, or onto this towel. So you can see that's the oil filter. It's obviously leaking out everywhere. All we're gonna do is pop this out and pop the new one in. Okay, and we're back. So you can see we've got the oil filter housing. You can see that is what the filter actually clips onto. Here's our new filter. It doesn't matter which direction this goes in. Either way, I like to go decal out just so if I ever want to be able to read it for any stupid reason, I don't have to pull it out to read it. I can see it that way. Actually, before I put this in, one other thing that we need to do, the kit that I got from FCP Euro, which I highly suggest going to them. I'll leave a link down in the description to their website. I use them all the time for oil changes, any kind of maintenance things that I want to do on my Volkswagens and Audis. But anyway, this O-ring comes with the kit. This O-ring is from the oil filter housing. So we've got to take this off and replace it. What I like to do, I have a really small flathead screwdriver. You can also use a pick. I think a pick might actually work a little bit better, but you're gonna just slide that underneath the O-ring. I like to use my finger here, you can see, to sandwich it so it doesn't go flying across the room. And then you just pry it up off and you can go ahead and throw this away because we will be replacing it. What I'm gonna do, first off, we're gonna get this new O-ring put on. It can be a little bit tricky to get it started, but you're gonna get it rolled down into this little track. You should be able to see it right there. So we're gonna keep rolling that down the threads until we get that seated down in there, and I will show you what that looks like. We also want to make sure we keep the threads clean. You don't want anything getting gummed up in there and affecting the seal. All right, so as you can see, the O-ring is seated nicely in that groove. Now, what I'm also gonna do is try to wiggle it around a little bit, make sure it's not twisted or kinked or pinched in any kind of weird way. I already have a bunch of oil on my gloves, as you can see, so I'm just gonna give that a little spin on there, make sure that that O-ring has a nice little coat of old oil. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and take this new filter, we're gonna slide it into the housing. You'll hear a little pop. there you go. That's how you know it's in. You can stop, and we are ready to put this back in after I clean it off a little bit. All right, so as you can see, we're gonna put the oil filter housing with the filter in and the new O-ring installed. We're gonna put that back where it came from. So if you're interested in the torque spec on this, it's 25 plus 5 Newton meters. I am just going to tighten this down by hand first. Make sure everything's threaded properly. All right, now I'm gonna get this tightened all the way down. Like this says, 25 Newton meters is not a lot of force. The O-ring is doing the sealing, so this does not need to be tightened down to a ridiculous amount, or you will actually crack the oil filter housing. So that is good and tightened on there. All right, so as you can see here, I'm gonna go ahead and put the dipstick back in. And it's a little bit dark in here. I apologize for that, but this right here, this is where the oil cap came off. This is where we are going to be putting oil in. All right, so we're ready to put the oil in. This is the 0W20. This is a newer oil. It's a Volkswagen 508 spec. As you can see, if you're interested in figuring out what kind of oil you need for your Tiguan, I'm not sure if this was the oil they've always used in the Tiguans or if this is only for the newer stuff. But when you pop your hood, you should have a sticker right here. It should tell you exactly the engine oil that is required. But FCP Euro sells these in a kit with the 5.2 liter and a little over a 1 liter. So we're gonna start filling it up. The engine should take about 5.7 liters roughly. So I'm gonna put all of the 5 liter in and a little bit of this 1 liter, and we're gonna turn the car on and let it run for a little bit and make sure all the oil is circulated, and then we'll check the dipstick to top it off and get it to the max level. All right, so this is where we're gonna be putting the oil in. I'm going to put my funnel here. This is a slightly sketchy setup I've got here. So if this doesn't work out, I'm just gonna pour directly from the container. All right. Once again, that was all of the 5 liter container. I'm gonna just put a little bit of this in. All right, so we've got our old oil out. We've got the new oil in. We've got our new filter in with our new O-ring on the housing, and everything is tightened down. We're ready to turn the car on, let it run, and then we're gonna check the dipstick. All right, so as you can see, we're in the car. We've got the engine running. I'm gonna let it run here for a second, and then I'm gonna show you how to reset your oil change. Ours is actually not activated right now, so I don't have my warning to change my oil yet. I'm doing this change early compared to what it was set at. All right, so we let the car run for a second and we just shut it off. I'm gonna show you how to reset your engine oil notification. So what you're gonna do, we've got the car off. You're gonna hold the 0 button right here on the dash, hold that down, turn the ignition on with your foot off of the brake, and then hit the 0 when that message comes up, and your service interval was reset. And it's as easy as that. And now we're gonna go check the dipstick. All right, so last step, I'm gonna pull the dipstick out, wipe it off, put it back in all the way, take it back out, and you might not be able to see it. Okay, you can kind of see it. Well, now it's running down the dipstick, but we were a little bit low. Let me get another. Okay, so get this lighting good. Okay, so you can see where it's reflecting. The oil is just below the middle of where we want it. So we're gonna put a little bit more and top it off. We want that oil, when we pull this dipstick out, to be just below the max. And that's it, you're done. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully we'll have some more content here soon.